Yeah, we're rolling.
Okay.
Quiet, boys. Hey, Journey.
Just you know why you and I will buy.
Ever since I was little, I've been drawn to vintage things. Rotary telephones and rusty bikes smelling of past lives in dirt from simpler days when things seemed yellower and smelled sweeter than they do now. I like the feeling of retro, the warm curiosity of a life I will never know, comfortable like looking outside from the inside during a rainstorm. There's nothing like holding something that belonged to a person in a different world that I will never meet. The smell of crinkly yellow pages with simple illustrations dulled by messy fingers and grass stains from a childhood long before mine. I want a life where phrases like Carpe Diem are still relevant and special and big. A time when a boy called you if they liked you and you had to rush to the phone to answer it before anybody else got there. I want shoes that click on wooden floors and dresses with uncooperative zippers that hit just below the knee. I want old-time music with grainy sound and voices that echo slightly in the recordings. Music that sounds familiar even when it's not. I want the sound of bare feet on grass and screen doors that slam in the summertime. I want a life full of simple, old-fashioned things. A life full of walks home and being twirled in a skirt and finishing the last page of a book with a sequel. Wound up music boxes and grainy pictures and handwritten letters in the mail and drinking shakes at a counter for a few cents each. Things you hear your grandparents reminisce about around the dinner table. I want to know people who think about a past they weren't a part of but feel like they should be. And I hoped a lot of people felt like that too, but I was never really sure. As a little girl, I hoped that I'd meet people who cared about old-fashioned things like picking strawberries and going to record stores, and that people wanted to live life in that going backwards kind of way because why can't we? Why can't girls wear fake strings of pink pearls? Why can't we talk on the phone and eat at diners with buzzing neon signs? Why can't we laugh without consequences and sneak out without thinking? I want that. I want a life like the 60s with the feeling of an 80s movie starring John Cryer. We live this big, busy life, crowded with things and places and people we know the first names of in profile picture, but we'll never meet in person. We live for people we're hoping to meet, and places we're hoping to go, money we're hoping to make to buy things we can't afford, skipping over the tin lunchbox days and roller skating after hours to live lives muddied with extras. The only time we lived in the present was in the past. Listening to songs required thought and effort, and manually touching the needle to the record. When you liked someone, you had to think and pursue trial and error attempts and remember their phone number. You had to put yourself out on the line. Not online or within a few words in a text. And no, it wasn't perfect, but it was real. But it's all still there. There's still dusty records existing in basement piles. There are still diners with jukeboxes in the back, waiting to be played. There are still little brown-haired girls wanting that little slice of life from long ago. And I think everyone wants some of that too. As that little girl, I thought maybe I was the only one who wanted a life like in the books I read, and movies I saw, and stories my mom told with a twinkle in her eye. But if that were the case, antique stores and libraries and movies and museums, they wouldn't exist. They're there so people can step into the past they might have known if the timing had worked out a bit differently for them. They can walk into this time capsule with 4 brick walls and take home a little piece of another life and put it in their windowsill or bedside table, or listen to it spin in the record player, or just look at it. And sometimes that's enough. Everyone wants to live slow, fast, and loud, to live life like in an 80s movie, to tell someone how they feel about them, out of breath with flowers in hand, to wait under someone's window with a boombox on their shoulders, to live life like the blooper reel doesn't exist, to live in a way that is pure and simple and candid and honest. In our world of distraction, everyone wants a little Carpe Diem.
Watch me when you call my name. See me sparkle. See me